Hey guys, and welcome to my channel where we talk about all things Kajabi, marketing, and growing your online business. Now, today I am going to share with you some answers to a question that came from one of you. So I got an email from one of you who asked me this question. I have a question for you that Kajabi has been unable to answer for me. I thought you might know the answer. I watched your video on setting up Kajabi emails and wondering if there was a way to create a post-purchase email that would include the text, the customer's username, email, and password. I thought it might be good for the customer to have a record of what their password is and hopefully reduce the number of customers reaching out to me because they forgot what theirs is. The Kajabi support team told me this could only be achieved with advanced coding in the custom post-purchase email option. Great question. Now, the answer to that is not quite as simple as you wait. I mean, granted, if you really want to do the very specifics of what you're talking about, yes, we are talking about some custom coding. However, there's a little bit more behind the scenes that we can do some workarounds on this. So let me give you a few insights on what I would recommend. Number one, what you're really asking is, how do we share their login information with them in a way that then they're not constantly contacting you about, I can't get logged in, correct? So the way we want to do this is I always think about it from a client journey perspective and how we can facilitate as much of the user experience as possible throughout what we do have control over. Because think about it, even if you send them an email and we go through all this work of custom coding and sending them an email with their login and password in it, the problem is twofold. Number one, when we have access to their login information, it puts us as a little bit higher risk as far as our liability. So Kajabi sets this aside intentionally that we can't, if you go to a user's profile, you can't see what their login and information is. You can see what their email address is, and you can change their password manually for them, but you can't see what their password is. And Kajabi does that for you to help you with your protection of security, especially because so many people nowadays are not very good about being secure, so they're using the same password for everything. So we want to make sure that we're protecting you. So to be honest, in my opinion, I don't want to be able to access that information. It puts a little too much pressure on me to make sure that I keep my system secure and keep their login safe. So Kajabi does that for you. The way that we want to alleviate what you're talking about on sending those emails, the second thing on the email, of course, is that's assuming that even if we email them, that they actually will save that email, and email isn't always secure either. So if we want to keep things as secure as possible, what we want to do is remove ourselves a little bit, but also guide them in a process that avoids the customer service. Because really, if I'm reading between the lines on your question, that's kind of really what we're talking about. We want a positive customer experience. We want to eliminate or at least mitigate as much as possible how many people are emailing you to say, hey, I can't get logged in. So here's what I do. Number one, as soon as they purchase, we want to make sure that we create a custom welcome page. So in Kajabi, they're called thank you pages, but essentially I like to refer to them as welcome pages because that's essentially what we're doing. We're welcoming them into the program or whatever it was that they purchased, whether it's a course, a membership, a coaching series. But by having that setting in your checkout, that takes them to a custom landing page that you create as opposed to right into their library, or just sending them to default, those kind of things, or even just sending them to default email. What we want to do is control the client journey and the customer experience. And then in so doing, we can be very strategic on what we put on that welcome page. So for example, let me pull up this one. This is the welcome page that I have for one of my programs. This is the Launch and Scale Coaching Series, where we go deep into the sales funnel and the onboarding process, which of course is what we're talking about right here. This is one of the things that I do talk about in this program. is that we want to have this engaging welcome page that when someone first purchases, remember this happens immediately after they click submit on the payment on the checkout. So we want to be like super over the top welcoming and alleviate any buyer's remorse that they may have, if they possibly may have that, and eliminate any confusion or what do I do next or how do I get logged in? Because here's the thing, if we go from checkout right to library, they now made it into the library, but we made it so easy for them, they didn't have to work at it. So they don't know how to get there again the next time that they go. So we want to guide them, take them by the hand, and give them as much information as possible when we have their attention the most. And the most attention you'll probably ever get from somebody is on the welcome page or right after they purchase. So this is prime opportunity to lay the foundation for everything that happens after that and set them up for success. So what I always do is I have a welcome message. You can see here, congratulations, you've successfully enrolled, so that they know, hey, my purchase went through, everything's good. I'll have a little bit of a video that just kind of adds that personal touch. You don't have to do video on yours if you don't want to, if you're not comfortable with video. Personally, I just think video is a great way to have that additional personal connection. And then here is what I have below that. Now, in this particular welcome page, that it's for a coaching series, which has dates that they need to remember. So of course, I'm going to put the add to calendar links right here. But the other thing is that we want to have a basic welcome message, but we also have things like number one, if you notice my copy here is number one, check your email. So I start the conversation by saying, congratulations, you're probably wondering what next. Well, here's what you need to do next. Number one, check your email. I just sent you an email with a welcome message. And if you don't see that email, be sure to check your junk or spam folder, mark it not spam, so that you don't miss out on any future important communications that I may be sending. So this takes care of that every so often, depending on the algorithms, whether or not the email from Kajabi servers ends up in spam. This way, we're already telling them, I just sent you an email, go look for it. And then if it is in spam, then we don't want it to be there in the future. You can fix that. So you're alleviating customer service problem number one, just in a couple simple sentences right on that welcome page. So number two on mine, I put mark your calendars because this is a live event situation. But then number three, you'll notice I put on here, which for you, if you don't do live, could be your number two, is simply then log into your resource library. You can click the link below. Inside, you'll find access. So it's kind of like, hey, here's where you want to go. But then I also add this little sentence, and it's like, if you can't remember your login, simply click the forgot password link on the login page and we'll email you instructions to get in. So what you're doing here is you're planting the seed on, if they can't remember their login and password, all they got to do is click the forgot password link. Now, granted, most people probably can figure that out, but not necessarily, because obviously you're still getting all these customer service emails that are saying, hey, I can't remember my login and password. What do I do? So what we do here is when their brains are open, they're most receptive, they're excited because they just made the purchase, we have the opportunity to communicate with them here to plant those seeds to say, hey, if you forgot your password, no problem. And then I also follow this up with an email that essentially is going to be pretty much the same verbiage that I put here. So in the email, this first email that they get, we of course do the whole welcome message, excited, here's what you are going to get. We talk about the transformation and the promise that we had in our sales offer. And then we go through some of these things again inside the email. But now in the email, we can put a hyperlink to the login page or the library page with an additional sentence that basically says, be sure to bookmark this page so that you never have to worry about figuring out where to go to get access to all the resources for this program. So that would be my answer to you on how do we circumvent the whole process of how do we send them their login and password. Now, granted, you could still send the default email, and sometimes I will do that as well, that inside the offer settings, you can still have it send the default email, and then you can go in and adjust that in your email settings to be a little more specific. But that email, the default email that Kajabi sends after purchase, typically will have their login information on there. That is system generated by Kajabi, so you don't have to worry about that. So sometimes I'll additionally go ahead and have the system send that email so that they at least get that secondary email with the login link. And then your automations inside the offer are to subscribe to email sequence or to register for event, depending on if it's a live or if it's evergreen. But inside that email sequence then will be your onboarding process, the whole sequence of emails that you will put together to engage with them, to help them get started, to walk through some of these tech issues, that kind of thing. So that would be my recommendation for you on how you can circumvent the login and password issue, how you can ensure that you give your audience the best possible onboarding experience, and to smooth out some of those customer service issues that sometimes will happen because they can't remember how to get logged in. So hopefully you found that helpful. If you're interested in more information about my Launch and Scale coaching series, we do have some dates coming up very soon that you could participate in this coaching event, which will be a full 6 weeks where we will go deep into the sales funnel as well as the onboarding process so you can increase conversions, better engage with your audience, and really nail some of the copy to be able to get that launch and scale process in your business. So we hope to see you inside the coaching series. Be sure to like and share if you and subscribe to my channel if you found this helpful, and then comment below with what your favorite tips are on being able to alleviate some of those customer service and handle the login question that always seems to pop up. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.